Today, Sonic Origins is a perfect game with no issues. For more jokes, here's CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where things might look a little different.
Yeah, what happened to...
This is the first checkpoint on its new home, the Loading Ready Run Videogames channel.
Right, but what about...
So please subscribe to our new channel for not just CheckPoint, but other LRR gaming content as well.
Right. Yeah.
Also, my hair's gone. What did we miss while we were off in June? Very little, honestly. Even though E3 didn't happen, everyone still decided it was the right time of year to hold their big press events, probably because they were just kind of stuck in the rhythm of it. So there were plenty of game announcements, but not a lot of news compared to most months. And while sure, we could get some joke mileage out of Starfield looks like No Man's Fallout, or how Square Enix is remaking one game as 3 games while simultaneously remaking 5 games as 1 game, and some of those are the same games. But really, I think we can just start fresh halfway through July and move forward. But I do want to add that the Activision Blizzard board investigated themselves and determined that they did nothing wrong. Not that nothing bad happened, but that the board and senior executive never intentionally downplayed or ignored the bad things happening. In fact, in a document they filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, they both say there are substantiated instances of gender harassment, but also that Activision Blizzard were subject to, quote, an unrelenting barrage of media criticism. Yes. Anyway, that lawsuit is still ongoing, and now you're pretty much caught up for June.
It's Sonic's 30th anniversary, as always. And man, are people not happy about Sonic Origins, because I guess I was right that all of the early Sonic games are just as much fun as the later ones. Look, you're here for my terrible bias as much as my terrible jokes, so strap in. The 3-person modding team behind the Better Origins project had been doing a good job of renaming music files to reflect the original source, swapping around art, sprites, and animations for more correct or better-looking versions. And most importantly to me, they rolled back the name Hydro City to the correct Hydrocity. And at that point, they stopped. They hit a wall because the game didn't support scripting and they couldn't continue developing their mod, which isn't surprising, given that the game is absolute shit. Okay, sorry, that's a bit harsh. Let me instead quote Zanmin P, one of the modders on the project. It's become way clearer that this game is absolute shit. There, I feel better sourcing my quotes. Now, I also want to point out that Zanmin P walked that quote back later when talking with Ars Technica, because after posting that and shutting down the mod, a bunch of news sites wrote stories about it, and that super sucks to have your words, born out of frustration, become above the fold news. Zanmin P followed up with tweets stating that the mod, quote, became more of a chore to fix than something fun. And I sympathize with that. When you're a super Sonic fan, the little problems in Origins that we laymen wouldn't notice aren't little. They're glaring errors. They need fixes. But yeah, at some point, you have to cut your losses and hope that the next Sonic game out of the loop is the one that finally shows the world how great Sonic is. Or maybe the one after that?
Video game retailer and caretaker of ThinkGeek's shambling corpse, GameStop has launched an NFT marketplace. Right on time. I know we were off for a month, but to catch everyone up, NFTs are over? They've crashed, and pretty hard, as in down 90% from where they were at the beginning of 2022. Ars Technica calculates that GameStop earned just $45,000 in the first 24 hours of their NFT marketplace, which is bad for GameStop, but kind of great as an NFT marketplace, or as Ars Technica's Kyle Orland describes them, quote, a surprisingly large player in the quickly shrinking market for NFTs. Right now, you can only trade in NFTs that are minted on the GameStop marketplace, and most of the trade volume seems to be GameStop's own MetaBoy collection, 10,000 randomly assembled animated GIFs of a running handheld console, one of which is currently available for over $74,000, but that's probably only because that number is equal to 69 Ethereum at time of recording, and it's MetaBoy 6969. So at least we're all clear on who's buying these things. Look, I don't know if this counts as news, But I do think that GameStop getting their stock price memed into the stratosphere by a bunch of terminally online crypto bros and then scrambling to pour money into creating an NFT marketplace for them, only to have it be successful insofar as all NFT marketplaces are doing very badly, actually, has the same energy as Sony Pictures mistaking a bunch of Twitter mockery as a reason to arrange a second theatrical release of Morbius.
It's Kirby's 30th anniversary, and Nintendo is surprise dropping a new game this summer. I mean, it's not really a surprise when they released a teaser for it. And it's not really a teaser when there's a bunch of gameplay and shots of all the characters. And in Kirby's Dream fucking whatever, you are a tiny Kirby on a giant cake, and you run around with your friends and... Wait, no! Actually, you roll around with your friends, and all of a sudden a lot more of you just got interested, didn't you? I'm not surprised. Rolling around on a cake is top-tier Gen Z forbidden tingle bait, and you've been wishing you could do it ever since your 12th birthday party when you sat next to your high school-age cousin in the tight shirt who grabbed a bit of frosting off the cake and spread it on your nose, and you had this feeling like your Google searches were about to get a lot more specific. Hey, want to look at Kirby's feet again? These aren't in the game, but CheckPoint is back, baby!
Finally, there's a video game console for people who think Web3 is a thing. Web3, by the way, is a theoretical future of the internet that's basically the same as the current internet, but also it's on the blockchain for some reason. In any event, here comes the Polium, a self-described next-gen console for Web3 gaming with a supposed release date of sometime in 2024. While the initial round of online mockery the console received was focused on the Polium logo and its similarity to the logo for Nintendo's GameCube, there are much funnier things to make fun of the Polium for, and not just because they already got cyberbullied into changing their logo into one that's much worse. The so-called Polium white paper states that the problem they're trying to solve is, well, I would describe it as the decentralization of blockchain gaming by centralizing it all on one console that can access Web3 games from different marketplaces and blockchains. Assuming those marketplaces even want this to work, the Polium has a long road ahead of it to make this all function from a technical perspective, but they have assured potential buyers that the console is multilingual and will therefore run games built on a variety of programming languages like C++, Python, JavaScript. And this tells me that nobody working on the Polium has any idea what a video game console does, because running games built on different programming languages is not an unusual selling point. It's a thing all consoles can do. In a mocked-up image of a proposed gaming library, the Polium touts such beloved metaverse games as Decentraland, once described by Vice as a much worse alternative than basically anything else that already exists, and Axie Infinity, the NFT idle game that had $650 million of Ethereum stolen from it 4 months ago. And elsewhere in their white paper, they do identify potential problems with their plan, like users having to wait until Ethereum gas fees are lower before they make a purchase, or a Solana outage preventing gamers from playing on the Solana chain. But luckily, they also say, we believe the outages will not be an issue for a Web3 gamer if the outages happen infrequently. Some critics are saying this is the new Ouya, but I don't think that's fair. The Ouya actually released. This is much more like the Phantom console or that scam that Soulja Boy ran. Oh, you think I forgot, DeAndre? You owe me $180. All right, good set of stories this week.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, look, I know he said finally, but hear me out. CheckPoint!
Ugh.
Bayonetta 3 is almost here, and the devs have finally given us what we've been craving. Less nudity! The naive angel mode means that you can finally play Bayonetta in front of your parents without worrying that they'll freak out about the nudity, and instead they'll only freak out about the fast-paced BDSM-adjacent special moves. Of course, that would only matter if your parents actually know anything about BDSM, and they don't. Right? They're squares. I mean, you've never seen a hanging planter on that hook they have over their bed. They just laughed about how it was there when they bought the house, but they didn't take it down when they repainted the ceiling. And there was that time your mom swapped out the candles in the dining room after you found some in a drawer and thought you'd help set the table. And there's that $3,000 line item in the household budget for rope. Nah, it's fine. Turn on naive angel mode and try to ignore your dad when he asks you how the sharing function works on the Switch. And your mom when she giggles something under her breath about sharing a Switch.
You got that out of your system then?
After 6 weeks, I was due for release.
Oh, no, stop.
Oh, I'm going to need a safe word.
HR complaint.
Acknowledged. See you guys Friday for aftercare.
It's called CheckPoint. Knock it off.
Coming up, the weird beans from Fall Guys continue their reign of terror. They've hollowed out Pusheen and Super Pusheenacorn and are running around in their skins until July 18th. Terrifying!
So I was talking with our friend Andrew about the Polium.
Good, because I wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not making this up, am I? That all consoles can run things made on a variety of platforms. And Andrew, who works in game dev adjacently or whatever, is like, yes, like he just burst up laughing.
Yeah, because you target in your IDE or whatever, you generally just end up, or the whole project, you end up targeting a console. And it's like, yeah, I'll take this C or this C++ or this Java or whatever, and I'll just target.
Yeah, but you can also use different programming languages within different engines as well.
Yeah, like in Unity and stuff.
But he put me onto this quote from an ostensibly like pro NFT Twitter account.
Great.
That was talking about how it's like they were using it as like a strategy, but it actually was like a damning sort of judgment of things like the Polium, where it's like, it's much better for your NFT project to be vague. Like, there are no specs for this thing, right?
Ooh, yeah,
right?
Well, yeah.
Because it's never going to come out, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to sell their like early access passes, which are an NFT themselves. But if you buy one, then you do get a console when it is released. But all they've said is like, it'll be 4K. It's going to have a fingerprint scanner on the controller because it needs to be able to connect to your wallet.
Yeah.
It's going to have ray tracing.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all they've said about the console.
So I had seen an ad or a capture that came off the Polium. I also like calling it like Polium, like
Polium,
like polio. Like a single polio.
Someday we will have a cure. Yes.
Off their website initially that said 8K 120 hertz, and I'm like,
it says 4K. Their white paper says it'll be a 4K resolution, 8K HDR. And it's like, that doesn't work.
No.
Yeah, but they do say, up to 120 frames per second. That's their other selling point. Yeah,
it's like, okay, whatever. The thing that got me is, I believe in one of their like in the white paper in their spec docs or whatever, they had said that while the majority, or like while Web3 games right now aren't that fun, we hope that in the future they will become more fun. Like, that was like literally in their paper or like on their website or whatever. Like, it was a quote from the people trying to make this thing happen. And I'm like, what a great quote, being like, look, the games we're targeting are not fun to play at all, but we're hoping that in the future they will be.
My actual favorite thing, which was it was too granular to drill down on in the story, is the roadmap, right? They have the roadmap for like the release or whatever, but then they have the roadmap for the console, right, which is like, releasing whatever, and it goes back to 2021 idea. And it's like, I just love that it's like, that's all it says is like, in 2021 we thought of it.
There we go, guys.
You would say, I think you would say concept is probably what you would want to have, but I just love that it's like this little roadmap, and just the only entry, the first entry is 2021 idea.
Yeah. Scheme born. Yeah. Or what is it? Caper hatched? I don't know. What do you want to call it?
Shine, get. Yeah. Caper hatched. I like it. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Rug laid.
There's a guy. It's a nice rug. What's that guy doing standing on the end holding onto it with both hands?
He just wants to be sure it doesn't move.
Yeah.
How about you get on the rug?
His knuckles are white and he looks twitchy. Nah, it's fine. You sure? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Please subscribe to this new channel, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Also, if you don't have to. I just hope that you're still seeing this because of YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel fine, by the way. It's weird, but it's going to get less than this, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once it's all gone, and then once it's all gone from within you, then this should maybe all come back.
Presumably, yes. Yeah,
nice.
it's not going to be forever. Yeah.
All right.
I was talking to Marshall, and he was like, "Yeah, you'll be able to. I think you'll be able to rock like a sort of like a tall, like like imposing kind of like a Canadian biker kind of aesthetic." And I was like, "I think I'm going to look like a large goblin, but thank you."
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you know Marshall loves you. He wants you to feel tough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Canadian biker. That's definitely my jam.